What you see here appears to be a photo of some old friends, people who have known and loved each other for a very long time. The truth is, this is the first time that Debbie Baigrie and Ian Manuel have seen each other in more than 26 years. The last time the two came face to face, Ian Manuel shot Debbie in the mouth during a robbery. He blew out part of her jaw, her back teeth, her front teeth, and part of her gums.
Hello, wonderful people. I'm Dane Peterson from Wonderbot. And here is...
He shot her in the mouth during a mugging. 26 years later, she lets him kiss the bullet wound.
Before we begin, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
Ian was 13 years old. The two met in a parking lot at a Florida gas station just hours after Ian was released from prison. Ian and I got out of the cars and we hugged for 2 minutes, Debbie explains. It was like a long-lost reunion. It was so nice. How can this be? How can a woman who was innocently mugged and nearly killed be warmly hugging the ex-prisoner who did that to her? Their story might surprise you. In 1990, Ian was 13, living in one of the poorest and most violent housing projects in the entire state of Florida. He lived in Tampa. One July evening, while out with a group of friends for the first time since having her second child, Debbie was approached by Ian and a group of older teen boys. Ian pulled a gun on Debbie and told her to give it up before he started shooting. That's when one of the bullets went into Debbie's mouth and out her jaw. It blew out all the bottom teeth and the gums on the lower left side of my mouth, she said. It also knocked out her front tooth and ripped part of her tongue. Ian was arrested days later in an unrelated case. While in custody, he admitted to being the gunman that wounded Debbie. Although he was barely a teen, the judge noted Ian's prior arrests and sentenced him to life without parole. The judge said they were going to make an example out of Ian. They sentenced him to an adult prison, Debbie said. To me, that was heartbreaking. As Ian approached his second Christmas behind bars, he gathered the courage to place a collect call to Debbie. "What do you say to somebody you shot, you know?" Ian explains. "As soon as she accepted the call, I said, 'Miss Baigrie, this is Ian. I'm just calling to tell you I'm sorry for shooting you, and I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas.'" Debbie says that the call came as a complete shock. "I was shaken by it because the attack was still so fresh at the time," she said. "But he called to apologize. I found it unusual and rare, especially from somebody that young." Soon after that, he began sending letters, which at first Debbie admits struggling to believe were written by him. "His letters were so articulate and he was so young," she said. "I don't even know if he had started high school yet." After being transferred to another prison, he continued to write Debbie and tell her about his experience and time being locked up. "I thought, wow, this kid is smart," she said. "Let's not waste his life. Let's give him a chance. He was smart. He was remorseful." So she began writing him back. The two quickly developed a tight bond. They'd even call themselves friends. Debbie even began going to his court hearings, and the two would casually exchange waves. But many of Debbie's friends and family members didn't understand her empathy. Some of them still don't, often calling her delusional and foolish. "I figure if I didn't help and support him, it would be a life lost," she said. "And my life wasn't lost, and I felt like his punishment was way beyond what it should have been." At the beginning of his sentence, Ian was placed in solitary confinement, a measure taken, according to officials, because of his age and size. Though their interests seemed protective, the isolation did more harm than good. It had a severe impact on Ian's mental health. Once in solitary confinement, it's very hard to get released without achieving performance objectives that were impossible for a 15-year-old boy who had been told he would die in prison, said Brian Stevenson, the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative. Ian repeatedly acted out, which ultimately cost him nearly 20 years separated from other people in prison. In 2010, the Supreme Court threw out life sentences for juveniles, and Debbie began advocating for Ian's early release, arguing that he had served sufficient time. After being thrown out completely, his life sentence was reduced on 2 separate occasions. On November 10, based on time already served, Ian Manuel was released from prison at the age of 39. Once his release was processed, he was headed to Alabama to join a program that helps former child inmates adapt to life outside of prison. But first, he had one very important stop to make. He met Debbie at a Florida gas station, and the two embraced like the old friends that they've become. "I didn't feel like I was hugging a stranger," Ian explained. "Debbie's not only like a guardian angel, she's like a second mom." His real mother, along with other immediate relatives, died while he was in prison. "I got to do something that I had only dreamed about for so many years," he said. "I got to kiss her on the same exact spot that the bullet either went in or came out." Right down the road, just a few blocks from where the shooting took place, the two friends shared slices of pizza, snapped selfies, and talked about future plans. Debbie shared photos of her daughters, who were 1 and 3 when she was shot. Ian is now adjusting to his day-to-day life. It's a slow and long process, but Debbie and his legal team are helping him through it. She hopes her friendship with Ian will inspire others to forgive. "We all make mistakes. We all try our best, and life is so short," she said. "And if anybody knows how your life can be gone in 1 minute, it's me. I understand that. We have to forgive because it helps us heal."
When a couple with children goes through an ugly divorce, it often ends up tearing apart the entire family and life the two people worked so hard to build up in the beginning. So when one Minnesota couple accepted that it was time to get a divorce, they promised each other that they would stay friends and keep their family together. So when a health scare jeopardized everything they'd worked to keep intact decades later, the former spouses came together and tackled the problem together. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for Wonderbot. And here is Selfless ex-wife gives life-saving gift to former husband. Both Mary Ziegler and Bill Henricks were born and raised in Princeton, Minnesota. According to the pair, they met when they were both in 9th grade and quickly became close. "We did a lot of hunting, fishing, working on the farm together," Ziegler told St. Cloud Times. As they both got older, Ziegler and Henricks became more than friends. While still teenagers, the pair got engaged and became husband and wife when Ziegler was just 18 years old and Heinrich was 19. After their wedding, the couple moved about 30 miles east of Princeton to St. Cloud. "He was going to be a rock star," Ziegler said. While Henricks joined a band, she got a job working at a wholesale beverage supplier and distributor, where she still works today. Within a few years, the couple got pregnant and welcomed their first child, Matthew, who's now 30 years old. About 2 years later, the couple gave birth to their second child, Macy, who's now 28 years old. Ziegler and Henricks were devoted to their kids and building their life together. However, as the years passed, something started to change in their relationship. By the time they were 40, both Ziegler and Henricks realized that their relationship wasn't what it once was. "You're a lot different when you're 40 than when you're 18, Ziegler said. "We've always been really good friends and companions. It's just that we both really changed." So after 22 years of marriage, Ziegler and Henricks decided to get a divorce. However, the pair had been friends long before they were married. Together, they decided that getting a divorce didn't mean that their friendship had to end as well. "It's always been on the adult, practical side of things," Henricks told the St. Cloud Times about the divorce. "We wanted to make sure our kids were as affected as possible," Ziegler said. "Kids don't ask for divorced parents, and so it's not fair to them. We kind of made a commitment at that time to get along," Henricks explained about their decision not to destroy their family and all the good things they shared, and to not do anything poorly to each other and to the kids. "You know, all those bad divorce things, we agreed not to do that." Shortly after the divorce, Henricks met and started dating his current wife, Linda. Linda happened to come into Henricks' life, and they were a good match, Ziegler said. And when Ziegler remarried, they all worked together to raise Henrik and Ziegler's 2 kids, as well as Linda's 2 daughters. "I would have never wanted to raise my kids without Linda, and my kids will tell you the same thing, that they're so grateful that she's in their lives," Ziegler said. "I admire her, and she's a lot of things that I'm not. We were a very good complement for each other, and I tell everybody this. I always say that Bill never left our family, but his wife Linda joined it," Ziegler added. "I consider Linda a gift to my kids and me, and to Bill, and one of the best things that ever happened to us." For years, the blended family thrived together. However, recently the blended family was put to the test when Henricks started struggling with his health. For a long time, Henricks has been living with kidney failure caused by his diabetes and hypertension. "It was fairly stable for quite a few years, and then I started to drop in the last year," he said. When his kidneys started to fail, doctors told Henricks that he would need a kidney transplant. "I'd probably 30 people volunteer to be checked and tested," Henricks said. However, the first 2 people to get tested who wanted to donate a kidney to Henrik weren't healthy enough to match. Several others weren't a match. At that point, Ziegler volunteered to get tested to see if she could donate a kidney to her ex-husband. The test revealed Ziegler and Henrik had the same blood type and even shared some of the same antigens. The universe was just kind of like, "You're the one," Ziegler said. "I'm a big believer in when you're tapped on the shoulder, you answer the call," said Ziegler, who also made a point to remind Henrik one of the reasons she could donate was because she took such good care of her health. "One of our issues when we were married is I'm super athletic and into health and fitness and wellness, and this guy wasn't," Ziegler added. "So I was going to remind you, aren't you glad?" While Henrik was grateful for his ex-wife's generosity, he was still concerned about her well-being. "I wasn't so worried about myself," Henrik said. "Going into this, it's kind of like worrying about 2 people, so that was a little hard for me." Thankfully, the surgery was successful, and Ziegler only took 3 weeks to recover and get back to work. "I do a lot of yoga, and that's super core strengthening," Ziegler said. "If anything, I feel invigorated and energetic because I had to sit around for 2 weeks." Henrik, who now has both of his old kidneys and a third healthy one from Ziegler, is still recovering from the surgery but is doing better every day. However, in the wake of the surgery, many people have been stunned to learn that Henrik's ex-wife was his donor. One of the surgeons that I talked to, he said, "It's more common than you think, especially when they're older like us," Ziegler said. "And for the same reasons. You share children, you share grandchildren. You're 60 years old and know what's important in life now. It's not all the crap that happened before, it's about the rest of your life." I mean, our kids have always been really proud to tell the story of their mom and dad and their stepmom and dad, Ziegler said about their tight-knit family. "But now I think they're really proud to say, yeah, my mom gave my dad a kidney, and they're divorced. I don't think what I did is too amazing," Ziegler said. "I was thrilled to be able to do it for not just for him, but for my kids and for Linda, everybody. So I'm pretty grateful that I did take good care of myself all my life. I did a good thing, but people that do it altruistically, I'm in awe of them. That's really selfless."